E tá rolando a Gamescom 2023 e além do maior stand da história do Xbox no evento lá da Alemanha, Phil Spencer, o chefão do Xbox, também está presente, é claro. Foi muito badalado, está sendo muito requisitado e deu algumas entrevistas muito incríveis. E hoje a gente vai trazer uma das principais com a IGN, onde ele comentou a respeito de várias coisas que vão sacudir o mercado. Vem comigo que eu te conto! Salve senhores, salve senhoras, LEOIZZO na área, e é isso mesmo, tá rolando a Gamescom 2023 na Alemanha e Phil Spencer está lá presente, foi conversar e dar algumas entrevistas, inclusive falou hoje com a IGN. O Destin, que é um cara bem famoso, entrevistou o Phil Spencer e durante sua entrevista ele perguntou várias coisas, uma entrevista de 11 minutos e perguntou a respeito, principalmente no início, sobre a nova proposta da Microsoft na compra da Activision Blizzard, da CMA, a jogada com a Ubisoft, além também de temas polêmicos e cutucadas como o problema que tá na internet atualmente sobre o Xbox Series S não conseguir rodar jogos, desenvolvedores reclamando disso, e também o futuro e a promessa do Game Pass. E nesse vídeo de 11 minutos que eu vou colocar para vocês a seguir, que foi legendado inclusive por mim em português do Brasil, o Destin cutucou o Phil Spencer em algumas questões bem polêmicas, inclusive com a chegada dos jogos da Activision Blizzard no Game Pass assim que a compra for concluída. Phil Spencer foi muito franco, muito transparente, ele está sendo muito franco e transparente. Ele comenta que as pessoas podem imaginar que é muito fácil apertar um botão e os jogos aparecem no Game Pass. Não é isso, assim que a compra for concluída, existe um trabalho muito grande por trás, então não esperem que jogos como Call of Duty e Diablo apareçam no Game Pass no dia seguinte da compra ser concretizada. Phil Spencer também falou sobre o polêmico comentário da Larian, desenvolvedora de Baldur's Gate 3, que veio a público, comentou alguma coisa a respeito do jogo não estar otimizado bem no Xbox Series S. O que acontece é que os desenvolvedores escolheram por opção própria ter um modelo ali de tela dividida local, de multiplayer tela dividida local, e parece que o Series S estava tendo alguns problemas. Isso não significa que o console tem problemas. O que ele diz ali é que a comunidade meio que começou a criar tipo um diz-que-me disse, um telefone sem fio, e aí achou que é isso, e então vamos dizer que é isso, e aí acusaram que o Series S não ter potência, o que não é verdade. Tanto que Phil Spencer comenta e garante que eles já estão em contato com os desenvolvedores, que são parceiros do Xbox, com não só ele, mas também a equipe de desenvolvimento do Xbox, para ajudar na otimização do jogo, para que, enfim, a tela dividida aconteça, que o jogo chegue o mais rápido possível nas plataformas do Xbox. E duas coisas que me chamaram muita atenção nesse vídeo foi exatamente Phil comentando que não vai permitir de nenhum que os desenvolvedores escolham não lançar jogos no Xbox Series S, e também de não permitir ou não também deixar que aconteça de desenvolvedores terceiros com jogos terceiros colocarem seus jogos em competidores como no PlayStation e não trazerem os jogos para Xbox. O Spencer já disse que essa luta ele já está participando e não vai permitir mais, então, ou seja, daqui para frente a gente já viu Microsoft, Phil Spencer, Xbox lado a lado com a Square Enix, e estão trabalhando bastante com a Larian do Baldur's Gate 3, isso a gente pode contar com todos os próximos jogos, ou seja, jogos vão começar a chegar bastante no Xbox e parar de estar como exclusividade no outro lado da rua. Então que tal assistir o vídeo? Se liga só.
Xbox has their biggest booth ever at Gamescom this year, and we're thrilled to have Phil Spencer with us to talk about some of their exciting partnerships and to answer some of the tough questions fans have been curious about. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Spencer right here with me. How are you doing?
Awesome. I'm looking at all the people. This is such a cool setup because all the people on the Gamescom floor are right there. It's cool. I appreciate you guys having a booth here on the floor. It's awesome.
So we're going to talk hardware services and such, but you just had this big announcement about some sort of CMA issue where you're partnering with Ubisoft. What does that mean for video games? Like if the Activision deal closes, can you just explain it to me? Because I don't get it.
Fundamentally, we are trying to bring more games to more people. And we think doing the deal with Ubisoft, which frees up one of the concerns at the CMA, which is the UK regulatory board where acquisitions get handled, will allow more games to go to more people. We've always thought we would do that as well, but Ubisoft's a good partner. We know them. They're independent from us, so we say any kind of concerns that we may dictate where the games go, hopefully is alleviated now. and allow us to continue to move forward in what we're working on with the deal. We still have work to do there, but we think it's a good step, bring more games to more people, which has been what this is about.
So if I want to play, is it just cloud streaming, or will
Yes.
it have an impact on Game Pass?
It is the rights that will go to Ubisoft when the deal closes are the cloud streaming rights for ABK games.
So Call of Duty, I can still boot that up on Game Pass potentially once the deal closes.
Yeah, on ABK, I'm going to a different answer now just because the way you asked that. I want to make sure people know that there's work to actually move games to Game Pass. So for people who think like the deal's going to close
October 18th,
then everything's available to Game Pass. That's not true. Like so, and it hasn't been true in other acquisitions that we've done. Like there's work for us to go do, just mechanical work for us to go do. So it will take us time, definite time, to get the games in portfolio. But this has nothing to do with making native games available in Game Pass. This is all about the Ubisoft relationship, is all about the cloud streaming rights for ABK games.
Well, that
ABK being Activision Blizzard King. It's really Activision and Blizzard since they have the kind of pay-to-play games.
That makes me feel a lot better. Thanks, CMA, for making it super confusing. But anyway.
But let me say, it's in addition to other deals that we've done, right? Like GeForce and Boosteroid, Ubisoft, other deals. I think there's like some GeForce announcements going out now about our PC games starting to hit there. So if you're a GeForce Now subscriber and you're a Game Pass subscriber, you're starting to be able to stream the PC versions of those games, which I think is an awesome part of this as well. Getting more games to more people has been what this is about. Not taking games away from PlayStation. I know there's like, that's not what it is. We look at the success of Xbox as how many people are playing Xbox games, and that's important to us.
Yeah, I mean, if you took them off PlayStation, you would literally lose money.
That we would.
Doesn't
yeah, it's never been in the
sense.
plan. I mean, I've had to wear a suit and tie. People like seeing all that stuff.
You look
We're not
very,
there anymore.
You look very fancy. Let's talk Xbox Series X. So the console's 3 years old. Where are we at with the timeline of the console? Are we at the beginning? Are we in the middle?
I think we're kind of at the end of the beginning, like if that makes any sense.
Okay.
I think the kind of supply issues early on lengthened the beginning to some extent, both on cost as well as just availability. I think from a game dev standpoint, not just us, but third parties, you're really just now starting to see the swell of games that got slowed up through COVID production now starting to launch. I think we have like 85 games launching like in the industry between now and like tomorrow, right? It seems like there's so many games coming right now that we're starting to get through the beginning of this generation and hopefully into a place where as an owner of a console, you've got games that are taking full advantage of the hardware and are great games for people to go play. And I look at the lineup over the rest of this year from third parties alone, and it's fantastic.
What's next for gaming hardware? Like, are better graphics still enough to differentiate?
I think better graphics, more realistic feel will always be important. I also love that different form factors are coming out. I thought what Valve did with the Steam Deck was awesome. I'm traveling with my ROG Ally when I'm here, having a great time playing games. I feel like it's a remote Xbox for me, right? I log in, my community's there, my games are there. All devs should support cross saves, so that's to you, Remnant 2 team. I'm playing a ton of Remnant 2, but I can't move to PC. But I just love the fact that I'm able to take my save games where I go and play. So I love that hardware is becoming more diverse, both in price point and in form factor and usability, so that more people are playing.
Do you have any news about some sort of mid-generation refresh for Xbox?
No. We're doing right now the increased storage on the Series S. The black one, yeah. That's what we actually call it, is the black.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, it does. It looks great. But no, like I said, we're kind of at the end of the beginning in my mind. So I think we need to let devs settle on this hardware and get the most out of it. But in terms of increased frame rate, increased resolution, I just look at what goes on PC with high-end GPUs, high-end CPUs. And it's not always just about pixel count or frame resolution. I think there's lighting techniques. There's a bunch of things that go into what makes a game look and feel great. And we have a ton of headroom as an industry there.
The Baldur's Gate 3 team brought up some issues with Xbox Series S and split screen, getting it to work properly. I know the Forts team announced that it won't launch with split screen, I believe.
Local split screen, yeah, split screen, yeah.
Local split screen. So
or even online split screen, yeah.
Is there some future where you allow developers just to launch on the Series X versus S? Because there's the parity clause right now, and I'm curious, will that ever be loosened up a bit?
I want to decouple these issues a little bit.
Yeah.
The decision to do split screen or not is a creative decision, a dev decision. So if we think about like Forza, it has nothing to do with any kind of hardware thing on S and X, just where they wanted to focus their time. We obviously see the data in terms of how many people play local co-op for games. I love local co-op. Shout out to Vampire Survivors that just launched it, fantastic. But there's also just let's go where the play is in terms of where we're going to focus our dev resources. In terms of the two platforms, I want games to launch on both platforms. There are feature differences between the platforms. We have an ability to kind of handle that and how it works. Where teams are going to choose to focus their time and their effort is up to them. We're here to support them and what they want to go do. We want to make sure that games, when they're launching on competitive platforms, are also launching on Xbox. So we're going to learn from this experience as well, because we don't love that. But I don't think it's something that's like a fatal flaw in the system. It's partners prioritizing their time, us listening and being a good partner to them. And you see some amazing games doing great work across S and X. Diablo looks great, Starfield looks great, Forza looks great across both. And you know, we think, I want to make sure console gaming is accessible to more people, and we think the price point of the console is a pretty important part of that.
Yeah, I love the Series S, but there's been that conversation going around, so I wanted to ask you about it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair question. I will say that I think some of the discussion in the community has maybe not come from us or the devs. It's been more the community building, well, this happened, and then that happened, and then so it must be about this. And I think we can do more to add clarity to actually where we are, and I look forward to doing that.
So you threw like 300 devs out to Larian to help them get Baldur's Gate on Xbox?
It wasn't 300, but absolutely.
400, wow.
No, it's a great game. They're an important partner. I'm meeting with them here at Gamescom. Like it's a game I want to see on the platform, and we have resources that helped in terms of making sure it's going to sit. I think they've said it's going to ship by the end of the year. I think that's their words.
Yeah.
In terms of what they've said. But like we should together come up with clarity to set some expectations for Xbox fans, and I look forward to doing that.
Okay. I just really like that game, so I'm hoping I can play it on my console soon.
I do too. Yeah. Hopefully with cross save, so I can play my PC and my Xbox version back and forth.
Yeah, got it. So, what else do we have? Game Pass does seem to be a bit of a tough sell for a lot of executives, I guess you call them. Kotick was one of those people that testified to it being a tough sell for him to bring Call of Duty to Game Pass. After closing, how are you going to breach that sort of ideological difference between you both?
Well, there's a different person making the decisions. That's one thing. On Game Pass, it's not necessarily true that every game looks at Game Pass and says that's the opportunity for me. Like if you're a massively successful AAA franchise that has double-digit million marketing budget to go drive awareness and discovery of your game day one, and that's part of your model, I totally understand why you wouldn't window your game day one into a subscription. I got no issue with that. Like we do it as a first party because we're trying to grow the subscription and we're looking at the overall health of the subscription as an outcome. We love that. We see it grow on console, more growth on PC definitely now, which has been awesome, especially sitting here in Germany. We think about all the PC players here. But so I just got out actually of a roundtable with a bunch of indie develop leads, studio heads, and the subscription helps them. It helps them in terms of dev funding, certainty in what they can go build. Every game that's in Game Pass is available for sale, so we're not trying to turn the world into a subscription-only world, I promise. That's not our plan. And we think it's a great model for certain teams, and for other teams that decide it's not the right model for them ever or right now, that's also totally cool as well.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, I'm being told we're out of time.
Uh-oh.
I have a lot more great questions for you, but they'll have to wait. Thank you, Phil Spencer from Xbox, so much for joining us. We got to go.
E aí, Phil Spencer mandou bem ou não, hein? E o fatality que ele deu naquele papo do Bob Kotick, hein? Será que ele vai se tornar o chefão? Será que o Bob Kotick vai pra rua? Afinal de contas, depois que a Activision Blizzard foi comprada, quem manda é o Philzão e manda é o Xbox. Os jogos chegam no Game Pass quando eles quiserem. E já sabe, se tiver dúvidas ou perguntas, deixa nos comentários que a gente vai trocando aquela ideia. Eu sou o LEOIZZO, vou ficando por aqui, logo mais tem mais vídeos. Um beijo no coração de vocês. Fui!